his once strong body now frail and worn. His name was David. The lines on his face told stories of hard work, struggle, and sacrifice, but today, those stories were near their end. The room was quiet except for the occasional rustling of sheets and the low murmur of his family gathered by his side. His wife, Linda, held his hand, her face streaked with tears. Their children, Sarah and Michael, stood nearby, their eyes red from a long night of waiting. David had been battling cancer for over a year now. At first, the treatments seemed to be working, but over time, the disease had worn him down. He had come to accept that his time on earth was drawing to a close, but he had something important he needed to do before he left. David's life had never been easy. He had grown up in a small town, the son of a single mother who worked tirelessly to make ends meet. From a young age, David had learned the value of hard work and perseverance. He wasn't a stranger to struggle. In fact, he often said that struggle was the only thing that had ever kept him moving forward. But, as much as he had struggled, he had always carried a deep, unwavering belief in God. Through all the hardship, losing his mother at a young age, his father's abandonment, and later, the struggles of raising a family, David had always prayed. It was a constant in his life, a source of strength that had seen him through the darkest of times. But over the past few months, something had changed. As his illness worsened, David found it harder to pray. He couldn't understand why God had allowed him to suffer this much. He had been a faithful servant, a loving father, and a supportive husband. So, why was he being forced to face death so soon? He had always believed that faith would bring him through. But now, as he lay in his hospital bed, he was losing that faith. He felt abandoned. David's family was feeling the weight of the situation, each person struggling in their own way. Linda, his wife, was trying to hold it all together. She had been his rock for over 30 years, always by his side. But even she was beginning to break down. She couldn't understand why this was happening to them. Sarah, their daughter, she was angry. Angry at God. Angry at the unfairness of it all. She wasn't ready to lose her father. Michael, their son, was quieter than usual. He was older, but his father's sickness had shaken him to the core. He hadn't known how to cope with it. He tried to remain strong for his mother and sister, but inside, he was struggling. The family had prayed together. Of course, they had gathered around David's bedside countless times, lifting their voices in prayer for healing, for strength, for peace. But each time, the prayers felt emptier, as if they were speaking into the void. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an orange glow through the window, David called for his family. He hadn't spoken much that day, his energy sapped by the constant pain and exhaustion. His breathing was shallow, and his eyes were tired, but there was something urgent in his voice when he called to Linda. Linda quickly walked to his side, gently placing her hand on his. "What is it, David?" she asked softly. David looked up at her, his face tired but still full of love. "I need to pray, Linda," he said hoarsely, "but I don't know how anymore. I don't know what to say." Linda squeezed his hand. "It's okay, David. You don't have to have all the answers. Just speak from your heart." David closed his eyes and took a deep breath, the weight of his years of faith and doubt pressing down on him. "I've always believed, Lord," he began, his voice barely above a whisper. "I've always trusted you, but now, I don't know. I don't know why this is happening to me, to my family. I don't understand, and I feel like I'm losing everything." The room fell silent. Linda held her breath, waiting for him to continue. "I don't know if I can do this anymore. I don't know if I can keep holding on," David whispered. "But I'm asking you, Lord, to show me your grace, to help me believe again. Please, Lord, don't leave me in this darkness." As the minutes passed, the room was thick with tension. Linda and the children stood silently watching David, waiting for something to happen. Then, something unexpected occurred. A soft, warm light filled the room. It wasn't the harsh glow of the hospital lights or the fading sunlight. It was different, gentler, comforting. At first, they thought it was a trick of the mind, but as they looked around, they realized it was real. The light surrounded David, and he felt a sense of peace wash over him. His breathing, which had been shallow and labored, deepened. His chest felt lighter. His mind, once clouded with doubt, began to clear. "I can feel him," David said, his voice full of awe. "I can feel his presence." The family watched in disbelief, but their hearts filled with hope. They didn't understand it, but they could see the change in David. The pain he had carried for so long seemed to lift, even if just for a moment. David's last days were marked by peace. He didn't get the miracle of physical healing that he had hoped for, but he received something far greater, the peace of knowing that his faith was still intact. He died peacefully in his sleep, with his family by his side, his last words a prayer of gratitude for God's grace. The family was left with a deep sense of love and loss, but they had also been given a powerful testimony, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, God is there. Even when our faith falters, He is faithful. Linda, Sarah, and Michael stood together at the funeral, each of them struggling with the loss of their father and a husband. But as they looked at the people who had come to pay their respects, they realized something important. David's faith had not been in vain. His journey had led them all to a deeper understanding of God's grace. David's story was one of struggle, doubt, and ultimately, redemption. He had lived a life of faith, but in his final days, he had found something even more powerful, a peace that transcended understanding, and that peace had touched all who knew him. Today, as you watch this story, remember that no matter how dark the days may seem, God is with you. Even when you don't have the words to pray, He hears your heart. Your struggles do not define you, but your faith in God will carry you through. Hold on, even in the darkness, because He is faithful and His love never fails. No matter where you are in your life, whether you're facing struggles, doubts, or heartbreak, remember this: God's love is bigger than any challenge you face. Trust in Him, even when it's hard. Keep praying, keep believing, and know that He is with you. Your breakthrough is coming, just as it did for David.